Palestinian control. Instead, human rights groups say more than 100 new settlement outposts have appeared across the West Bank in the last 2 years alone. From his house in the hills south of Nablus, Ayman Soufan watched an outpost appear on the next door hill a few months ago.
Every day a settler comes, bangs on the house, shouting, "Leave, leave." I call the authorities. They tell me I'll send the army, but the army never comes.
Ayman's grandchildren stare through the window at the corrugated iron shed up the hill.
Who is supposed to protect me? The Palestinian police? They can't even protect the cities. Here, my security is in the hands of the people who occupy me.
The Israeli organization Peace Now says violence by settlers and soldiers has forced 2,500 Palestinians from their homes since the Gaza war began. Recognition is a signal from Israel's allies that Palestinian rights don't change, even if Palestinian territory is taken and Palestinian control is gone.
Lucy Williamson reporting from the West Bank. Initial thoughts from you both on this recognition development today. Mark Landau, given what we know Sir Keir Starmer is going to say in the coming hours about the British position, how significant do you think it is?
Well, as several of your correspondents have pointed out, it's a very significant shift in the foreign policy position of the UK, and it follows on the heels of the French President Emmanuel Macron, who was really the first person that started this latest wave of recognition. And so, yes, symbolically it's important, but I think the lingering question is, what difference does it make? Particularly in a world where the United States has decided not only not to enforce its own historic opposition to the idea of the occupation, but really to quite openly encourage the Israelis. You now have an ambassador in Israel, an American ambassador, Mike Huckabee, who's an open advocate of Israel taking a stronger and stronger presence in the West Bank. And so I think that there'll be a question, particularly a year after all this happens, what did it actually do? How did it actually change the situation on the ground? And I think most people are extremely cynical about that, because you have an Israeli government that's bent on annexation, and its largest backer, the United States, now appears to be a partner in that project.
Dalal, Mark mentioned President Macron's take on this. How does this look from Paris?
First of all, I want to agree on what's been said. I think this is from the French perspective, it's seen as an important step. France is doing something, especially that it's taken no actions, no sanctions on Israel. So it's seeing this as, an action. Although they keep framing it as it's not sanctioning Israel, we're doing something to actually marginalize Hamas. That's what they keep saying. It's not rewarding Hamas, because this is the critique that they're getting from a very large Jewish community here in Israel. But it's been criticized as, I would say, it's not sufficient, and it's kind of too little too late. And I want to say something about the UK recognition is that, this came as something conditional, whereas it should be unconditional and immediate. And it's also seen as not sufficient, because just like France, maybe the UK is in a better position because it took some actions, unilateral actions against Israel. Whereas in the case of France, not much has been done. It wants to stay within the EU framework. But this is unlikely to end the current genocide that's happening in Gaza. It's